Hello, everybody, and welcome to coverage of the finals of the Fall Brawl Top 8. I'm Michael Hoyp. I'm joined today by Lester Smerling. How's it going, Lester?
Good.
Good. So we have a matchup between Rich Shay, he's playing the Parfait Oath deck, and then Sven Lutz is on the Mono Blue Stiflenought. So we know that I just saw you yesterday. You were at the Midwest Premodern Championship in Madison, Wisconsin, and you were playing none other than the Mono Blue Stiflenought list. So
I was.
So you've got a fan. You're a fan of the Dreadnought deck?
I am. I think that it's just the pure power of it is unmatched right now in Premodern.
All right. Well, Sven's hoping that you're right, and he's hoping that he can take down Rich. I will say that Rich faced this matchup in the semifinals, and he was able to take out a Mono Blue Stiflenought. So Rich is looking to do it again to become the champion, but Sven is trying to stop things. So let's
Spoil those plans.
Yeah, let's foil those plans. Yes, is a good way to put it. Let's talk about the players real quick. We have Rich Shay in Norwood in the U.S. He was 7-1. He finished the first seed with his Parfait Oath deck. So a list that he has played and tuned, really likes playing. Kind of just the idea is the deck tries to answer everything and not die, and then kind of eventually wins the game. But it just inevitability is kind of the name of the game. So he says favored versus most aggressive strategies, but can struggle against fast combo. I will say if you consider the Dreadnought deck a combo deck, it does have a little more interaction than maybe just like a pure spell-based combo. So Rich is probably in a better shape than maybe what he's saying here. And Lantex is a key card. I joked about this every time. He said the sideboard MVP. There aren't any in the sideboard. And I don't know if Lantex ever gets sideboarded out, but that's what he listed. So let's move on to Sven. Sven out of Berlin in Germany was the 3 seed on the Mono Blue Stiflenought list. Says it's favored against Sly and Dirtly decks. I mean, I would consider the Parfait Oath deck dirtly, though I think the matchup's pretty close. So maybe different dirtly decks it is definitely advantaged against. Struggles against Cabal Therapy, able to strip the cards out of the hand. And a null is a key card in the sideboard, which I would expect to come in this matchup.
I think I played this deck yesterday, and I think I sided a null in every matchup except for goblins against goblins. So it was pretty clutch.
All right. Well, I'm going to jump down to the decks, and we can look at what our players have. So first, I have the Parfait Oath list. So if you're not familiar with what this deck is trying to do, the card draw engine is land tax and scroll rack. Land tax will get basic lands, also shuffles your library, puts extra cards in your hand so that scroll rack gets more powerful, and the shuffle will make sure that you're seeing new cards every time. So really powerful engine, allows you to put like one of cards that are really situational, and you can kind of scroll rack them away when you don't want them in a matchup, or you can have that powerful engine to find those really narrow cards in certain situations. And then the other aspect of the deck is the Oath of Druids. There's just 2 creatures in the deck that will oath up in the main: Shard Phoenix and Ancestor's Chosen. So that's one of the things that kind of changes, I think, based on the metagame. People will try different things. There's been Triskelions, or people might have tried Phantom Nishobas. Yeah, so right now we have the Shard Phoenix and the Ancestor's Chosen. And beyond that, it's a bunch of different elements. I'll note in this matchup there are 2 Aura of Silence and a Seal Cleansing in the main deck. Those are kind of the key players. And then Swords to Plowshares is really important as removal for a Resolved Dreadnought. How do you like this deck? What do you like it in this matchup, I guess?
So game 1, I think Rich is at a huge disadvantage. He's got a bunch of really dead cards. He's got Armageddons and stuff like that that's just not good against a Gush deck. But he's just got the stay alive factor in his deck. You know, he's just gonna dirtle around and try to stay alive. So I think Rich is disadvantaged game 1, pretty bad. But I do like his deck overall for just a wide metagame. It's got game against pretty much everything, I think.
Yeah, he's got a lot of tools to actually fight what Sven's trying to do, like 2 main deck copies of Duress, and like there's the 2 Aura Silence and the Seal Cleansing, I feel like are more than normal. And you kind of mentioned the Armageddons as being dead cards, and I've been interested seeing how Rich sideboards. There's been times that he leaves like a copy of Armageddon in against decks that I wouldn't think, and just to have that closeout button once he's in control. So it finds finds situations to be pretty good when I wouldn't normally think it would be. But I'll jump over to Sven's list. This one's a little more straightforward. The mono blue Stiflenought list is, when it comes down to the core, it's Phyrexian Dreadnought. There's the 9 copies. Does he have the 9, or he has the 8? Oh, he does have the 9th, the Reality Ripple.
9, yeah.
Of the Stifle or Vision Charm effect. And then the rest is basically counter spells and card draw or card filtering.
He actually doesn't have the Ripple though.
Yeah, it's like a bottom. Like I think the Spanish version has like a different art. So I think that's what it is, like down in the art next to Phyrexian Dreadnought, I think is the Reality Ripple. So this deck is just very lean and mean and like really straightforward. And you said you think it's like the most powerful deck in the format right now?
I think it's the most powerful deck in that it's just got the oops I win draws, and then you can fight fair decks like Rich's deck. I played 2 Parfait decks yesterday. So you can play those. You can fight the long game because you got pretty much the best card drawer in the format in Gush. You can keep up with stuff, and then you can actually control your lands against the land tax decks. You can actually deprive them of land tax through Gush days and stuff like that. So you can fight on a bunch of different fronts with this deck.
I just been corrected by chat. The photo that I had on stream was a different mono blue Stiflenought players list, so it wasn't Sven. So yeah, he doesn't have the reality ripple. So there were minor changes. So now we're seeing the actual list that Sven is playing. So
yep.
All right, I'm ready to jump down to the match. Does that sound good?
Yep.
All right, if you want to let our players know that we can begin. We have Rich Shay on the left. He's playing the Parfait Oath. He will be on the play for this first game. We are playing a best of 5. And then Sven is on the right with the mono blue Stiflenought.
Sven's deck does have a lot of lands. He's got 17 lands. So we'll see how he manages that many lands.
Yeah.
With this deck.
Well, I like how that's considered a lot, but
this deck you just have so much card selection, so much card draw that you can get flooded a little bit easier.
Okay. Do you think it's that just something that you could change with the deck construction, or do you think that is just going to happen sometimes?
I was side note lands all day.
Okay.
So, yep.
We see Rich playing a turn 2 Oath of Druids. Oath of Druids is not the most scary card for Sven in this matchup, because often his 12/12 is just better than what Rich can oath up, but it does merit a daze in this situation.
That might just be dependent on what Sven has in his hand too.
Mm-hmm.
This is a card that does matter.
Yep, Aura of Silence really makes it makes his game plan more difficult to execute because of mana, and then also it is an answer to a Resolve Dreadnought. But he does have a foil. I didn't see the card.
Discarding 2 islands.
2 islands? Okay.
Yep.
All right, he's going for a Dreadnought right now. After, I mean, like, you can't expect Rich to have. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he has like a Swords of Plowshares in his hand, but like he's already resolved a foil on an Aura of Silence, so it's possible that this Dreadnought is just going to go the distance. We have
upkeep,
Enlightened Tutor, seal cleansing. Okay.
Yep. Now this might be where I'm sure Sven has some kind of protection in his hand. So maybe he's got daze, and maybe Rich doesn't have no land.
One thing I think is funny is you talk about like disenchant versus seal cleansing, and obviously you can't get disenchant with an Enlightened Tutor, but even here it's not necessarily clear which is better, because if you had disenchant, that means that Sven would be able to untap and have counter magic, but if you had the seal cleansing, you're more likely to resolve it on your turn, but it's also vulnerable to stifle, and so it's just funny how neither card is better or worse. They're just different.
So he does have the extra land.
Okay, Undiscovered Paradise.
Yep.
All right, so now we're phasing in, and Rich will.
No, that's actually really clutch that he did it there. That was That was kind of crazy that Rich did it there because Sven was tapped out and now you can stifle it.
Well, it was phased out.
Oh, I forgot that was phased out. You're right.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't. Yeah, Vision Charm Head
Yep. I
was
forgot
used
that.
initially. Yep. So Stifle was used on the activation of the Seal Cleansing, and
So that's huge.
yeah. Because you can almost, like, in this matchup, the players know what they're playing against. You can always expect Rich to keep a hand with probably one way to deal with a Dreadnought. But here, when you're able to answer it twice, then it's likely that it's going to take him a lot more time to find an answer. And against the 12-12, you just don't have that time.
No.
Whose turn are we currently on? We're still on Sven's turn?
I think Rich might be contemplating end of turn, what he wants to do.
Well, I guess maybe we haven't taken damage. I don't have... We should probably note that they should try and indicate life. I mean, it's possible this is like mid-combat. No, it's not.
So we're blessing back just the seal. So that gives him 5 cards to draw, 4 swords in the seal.
All right, so Guy's Blessing is just hoping that he's going to draw into an answer after shuffling back that seal. And we have another Guy's Blessing. So pretty desperate move in this time. I guess like you would need... He needs to have another mana source and draw swords. That's probably where we're at.
Yep.
Spin the wheel one more time. Do you think he blessing into blessing, or do you think he had 2 blessings in his hand?
Oh, that's a good call. I'm going to guess he blessing the blessing is what my guess is.
Nope. No answer is found, and
Nope.
the 12-12 gets it done in game 1.
So I think that's, I mean, it was a short game, but game 1 he is pretty disadvantaged. We're sideboarding after
After game 2, so the second game
Okay.
still will be without sideboard.
So he's still pretty disadvantaged. He's got about 10 dead cards in his deck against Sven. So
But I mean, even there, like, I mean, you can't be upset with having 2 answers to the Dreadnought in that short amount of time. So
no.
I mean, but that's part of the power of the mono blue Stiflenought, is it's so dense with like counter spells and answers that it does a very good job of protecting its Dreadnought. So.
Yep, I agree. And really, the Oath wasn't. I'm kind of shocked that he dazed the Oath because the Oath isn't that big of a threat to you.
Mm-hmm. Well,
but it can definitely make the games go a lot longer.
Well, I see. The situation is it's kind of like a 50-50 because the Shard Phoenix does almost nothing, but the Ancestor's Chosen definitely, if the life trigger resolves and you gain a substantial amount of life, that definitely can give Rich more time.
Right. You can stifle the life gain though too, I think, right?
Yes.
I think in my mind I can just stifle anything I want at any time.
Well, it's kind of like, which do you think has more value in the late game, a Stifle or a Daze? I might argue that the Stifle does, and that might be part of the reason why. Like, if you're going to say, I'm going to answer this Oath of Druids in one way or another, I'm either going to use a Stifle or a Daze. Well, you might use the Daze on when you know you can, and the Stifle used for something else, like a Seal Cleansing. All right, players are shuffling up. So you like Sven in these first 2 sideboard or non-sideboarded games? Do you think?
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Yep.
I'm trying to think if the previous round, if Rich had a reverse sweep, if he won all the sideboard games. I don't remember exactly what had happened, but
he's got a bunch of effective sideboard cards.
Do you think after sideboarding that Rich's advantage, like, Do you think he's advantaged in a single sideboarded game with the sideboard changes?
I think that Sven's still advantage because he gets to bring in 4-0.
Okay.
And 4-0 is pretty huge. Rich does get Meddling Mage, though, which is kind of hard.
What do you think? So you played yesterday, or like in your experience, what are the most difficult cards to play around for the Dreadnought deck?
It was, well,
Temporal Adept, is
Abolish
that?
for me. I got one.
Oh.
Temper Ads was a rough one. Yeah. Abolish was a really good answer, too. I don't think Rich is playing Abolish, though.
I don't think he is.
Yep. Yeah, Stasis and Temper Ads were really hard to play against. Mox Diamond. So I have a theory that you don't fight land tax in this matchup. That you fight the scroll tax and the scroll tax.
The scroll rack.
Scroll rack instead.
That makes sense. Is that just because you think that it's easy enough to stay under a land tax?
No, I think the land tax is just let him have the lands. He's not really getting better with the lands.
So
and then
hold on, I'll interrupt. I think Sven just like drew and then discarded. Is that?
That's what I think happened
okay.
too.
So he's not willing to trigger land tax right here. Do you think, first of all, what do you think that means from Sven, like about his hand? And second of all, do you think that, okay, so now he's triggering it.
He must be waiting to stifle it, maybe?
I don't think you can.
That was interesting.
I guess I was to say, like, if your hand is missing something, then maybe like waiting if you feel like, okay, I just need another counter spell. And then I can kind of trigger land tax and go for things. I could see that. But yeah, or maybe he's just like hoping that Rich would play a land and that he could always just be a turn behind. Maybe that was the thought process.
That's pretty interesting. But getting back, I think Scroll Rack gives him the ability to find other threats or other answers. So I think that's the fight you want to make. You can't fight them all. Oath. I was gonna say Sven does have Force Spike in his deck. That would have been clutch.
All right, so this Oath of Druids is a good resolve.
Yep.
Yes. Okay, again, we're triggering the land tax, so Rich will fill up his hand with more basics. It looks like he's got a good amount of cards in his hand. I think he has 6 before this trigger, so then he could go up to 10.
Just gets 2 lands, though.
Okay.
What do you think about that? What do you think about not max land taxing?
I haven't played the deck enough to know exactly when it's right, but I'm assuming you don't want to draw basic lands at this point, so I think I would use it for the full amount, but I'm not sure. Do you have an opinion?
Yeah, I'm of the opinion that you just max land tax. You can always get them back later.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes people just don't want to discard, especially if they know they can't use them or they're not going to play them. Duress. So we got 9 cards in hand now.
Yes, or no, I think he has 8. Oh no, he's got 9. You're right. All right, we see a hand of Stifle, Impulse, Vision Charm. Is it 2 counter spells, a foil, and a gush?
Yep. Interesting that we didn't fight over this Duress with a counter spell.
Well, if you're actually like thinking that Rich is trying to like clear the way for something, like a scroll rack, here you can just okay, you have 2 counter spells. The Duress takes 1 counter spell. Now I still have blue up for the actual threat. So I think in this situation it makes sense.
What do you take here if you're rich?
I think you take. You might take foil, or you could take gush. I think those are the two cards I would take. But what do you think? I can see making arguments for a lot of these cards actually.
Yeah, Gush was I think I was leaning towards Gush.
Yeah, gush is selected, so.
Yep.
So here is a scroll rack. I would think this is going to meet a counterspell. Yes.
Yep. We should always have these guys play hands up. This is way easier now. Enlightened Tutor. So I had this come up yesterday. He Enlightened Tutor for a threat, and I Vision Charmed it away. I think it's a heads up play that not a lot of people make, but we'll see if Sven makes it here, depending what the threat is, of course.
So the only difference, I think a reason he might not want to do it is because if he's afraid of another card that Rich would have in his hand.
Aura's just you're gonna have to deal with it with a stifle anyways, probably.
You could use a counterspell on it. I mean, like it's also like Rich is gonna have to use pretty much all his mana.
Yeah, and like guess that.
Actually, I might let him draw this because if he's gonna play it this turn, he's got to play a third land, and so he won't be triggering land tax anymore. And you could just counter it. I think that's fine not to Vision Charm there. And the Vision Charm does have a lot of value later of protecting your Dreadnought.
It does.
Because now we're in a situation that Rich isn't land taxing. Okay, he's got another Enlightened Tutor. I would say he's not scroll racking, and he's got, we know, 2 basics that aren't great, and then he had 3 unknown cards. I guess one of them was another Enlightened Tutor. Seal Cleansing. So, I mean,
he doesn't get Aura there, which is interesting. Maybe he's afraid of running into days.
Well, he tapped out last turn, right?
Yeah.
So it would have to be the card that...
He does get Vision Charmed.
Okay.
Hits the Blessing, though.
Yep, that'll shuffle everything back in.
Yep.
Now he's just going to draw that Seal Cleansing, right?
Yeah. We know which one it is, too, because it's stamped, so
yeah,
we can track it. Yep.
I think he only has 1 Seal Cleansing in his deck anyway, so... Alright, well, a 2-mana enchantment, but it's not Seal Cleansing, but it's still pretty good here. Sylvan Library is pretty powerful in this matchup.
Yeah, that card's pretty huge.
It is kind of funny that, like, a lot of times you just pay 8 life, but putting yourself to 12 is a lot different than being at 13. Rich does have ways to gain life, like Ivory Tower or Zuran Orb, so it's possible that wouldn't even matter in the long run, but 1 turn versus 2 turns against the Dreadnought could be pretty impactful.
The old Necro Hut, as Adrian calls it.
Alright, so I think Sven has 3 new cards, and
yep.
One thing that's been kind of interesting that the past 2 turns, like since Rich has seen his hand, Sven has not been able to cast that Impulse. He had to use his mana countering a spell and then casting that Vision Charm, and so without a third land, he's just been stuck with that that impulse for a few turns. So when you're in this kind of position where the other deck has resources and the game's kind of gone long, do you feel like the Dreadnought deck like loses an advantage, or you think it still has plenty of game just because it's so dense with interactive spells?
I think the Dreadnought deck is the one of the best decks I've played in the format that just catch up.
Okay.
Because just like tap 2 mana float gush, it feels like it's so broken.
Yeah, I guess
So all of a sudden you can draw in.
when you say catch up, that might be like maybe not the best choice of words, because it doesn't do a very good job of like getting rid of stuff that's on the board, or like can't like Pyroclasm away a board of a bunch of 2/2s or something. But like it can turn the game around by like assembling its 12/12.
Yeah, so like Rich has got like answers on the board, and all of a sudden like you can just draw in the stifles to stifle all of his effects, and then go, you know, like. So if he's got like seals and stuff like that on the table that he's waiting to answer, you can just get rid of the stuff. Blessing for 0.
Up to 3 cards. So
yep.
You can target your opponent, right?
Yes. Yep.
Do you think it's ever like, are there any bad cards you think that Rich would want Sven to draw there in his graveyard?
I mean, possibly just islands.
Yeah,
just make him draw more islands.
Yeah, I that makes sense.
Yeah. At this point, I think Rich is just really going for. I mean, Scroll Rack is so huge in this deck that even if you don't have the land tax going, just being able to see new cards is huge.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we see Rich play a Mox Diamond, discarding a land, and then he plays another land and plays Aura Silence. So he's respecting days in this situation, playing around that.
Aura's actually an Aura, obviously, because you have to pay more mana for the Dreadnought. It's way better than Seal in these situations.
Mm-hmm.
It's harder to play around. So we're gonna foil that. Oh, Intuition.
This is one of the interesting cards. I don't know if I'm a fan of this card in the deck. Have you seen the list with Intuition? Did you think about playing one? Did you? Because you didn't play one, did you?
No, I did not play one. Nope. I don't know. Like here, you got Intuition for Gushes, which seems good, but then you just don't have Gushes left in your deck. Because I think one got Duress away earlier.
Yeah,
so now you're out of Gush.
I mean,
Intuition.
If you're hoping that the game doesn't go many more turns, then that's not a bad thing. It doesn't really matter. But it just seems like there's a lot of matchups that do go longer, and so kind of puts yourself at a little bit of a disadvantage having those other Gushes gone.
I could see like against some matchups you just want a Dreadnought, so you're like, these action ones don't matter to me.
Okay.
Like against Mono Red or Goblins, you're like, once I get one Dreadnought in play, I'm fine. So maybe that's like huge there. I saw someone playing long-term plans too, which I thought was really cool.
Okay.
Similar effect. Gush. And we're gonna foil, I bet. So obviously we didn't see the play, but what do you think about intuitioning for days to get an island into your hand?
Well,
I'm gonna guess the big thing here was you want to get an island in his hand to foil.
Oh, so that's what you think? I mean, the problem, Gush at least draws you 2 extra cards. Like, yeah. I mean, I guess you're thinking more of like keeping your Gushes in your deck.
Yeah, like
That's
Daze is kind of a dead card here.
yeah. It's kind of like, would you rather just have 2 cards and make your deck a little bit less dense, like with good cards because the gushes are gone, or not draw any cards and make your deck a little bit better? I think gush is, I think just drawing the extra cards is probably just better, but it's something to think about. It's not a play I would think, but if you're just trying to get the island in hand, I can see just intuitioning for the days. All right, did you see the card that he ended up discarding?
Impulse.
Impulse. Okay. So after so many turns that he just not casting that impulse, he's just gonna discard it.
Now that might be a key that he's already got a Dreadnought.
Mm-hmm.
Because Impulse is one of your best searches for Dreadnought. Yeah, he's just gonna go here. And Rich has only got 1 card. He does have Necro Hut in play, but boom, hide it.
Yeah. Did he pay any extra life? Because he's had the Sylvan Library and.
He did not pay any extra life the first time.
Okay. So the Dreadnought was phased out. So right now, the Vision Charm has made sure that there's no Swords to Plowshares that could come down like on when Sven's tapped out. So it might be that he has a counterspell in his hand and he needs the mana to untap it to protect it.
Sven has also played this so that Rich can't Oath here, and then he can hit him for 12, and he can stifle the Oath.
Okay.
And then
That's very fair.
hit him again and kill him. So Sven's played it pretty good here. Stifle's like a broken magic card. You can just do unfair things with it, you know?
It's cool when like little situations, like, I mean, it makes gameplay very different because it just counters certain things that just don't normally get countered. So
yeah, like comes into play abilities of creatures. They're like, I'm gonna do this. You're like, I'll just stifle that.
like a dreadnought trigger. Is that what you're talking about?
No, like, you know, like a Octavia orangutan. Yeah, you can have a 2/2. I just, it's fine. You're a great Silver. I also the 3/3 that steals creatures, you can just stifle that ability too, which is kind of
a Gilded Drake. Yeah.
Yep.
Did you get to stifle anything really fun yesterday?
My opponents fetched land when they're land screwed. That was great against Parfait, actually.
Any like powder kegs or like what?
No.
What would be the most exciting thing in Premodern to stifle?
Oath of Druids is pretty fun.
Pernicious Deed is pretty fun.
Deed's fun. I did do a deed. Yep.
Ooh, so here we have an Armageddon. So this might be the idea of. Okay. So you can't trigger the or stifle the Oath trigger. But that's kind of hoping that Sven doesn't have an additional land.
An island. Just kind of hoping he doesn't have an island here.
Okay, so Sven had he asked if he had any effects like when he was during his upkeep. He does have an island, so the stifle is online, and Rich is going to take 12 from the Dreadnought if he's down to 8. And yeah, I'm guessing.
And Rich is actually down to 4, so he must have kept 1 card off Sylvan.
Okay. Oh, you see it on the life pad. Okay.
Yep. And now this is not necessarily a game, but it's pretty close to game.
Well, I mean, if Rich is able to find a source of Plowshares, or I guess he's used. There's the seal cleansing. The seal cleansing, yeah, got shuffled back in.
Yep. Seals, all the seals and all the auras in the deck.
Yep. So I mean, and he'll get to trigger land tax, get 3 lands out, and then Sylvan Library.
Yeah, he gets a lot of looks. Rich might be considering if he's got an Enlightened Tutor. Nope.
All right, 3 planes. The Sylvan Library, pretty important here. I think you're really looking for a Swords to Plowshares. Is there any world where you think Sven does not stifle this
No.
Oath of Druids? I guess there's no like 1 mana interact or counter spell that would protect against.
I mean, he does technically have Disrupt and Force Spike, but with Rich having two
Yeah.
Mox Diamonds, yeah. Oh, he did let him hit Oath.
So he's just hoping it's not Ancestor's Chosen?
Even if it isn't Ancestor's Chosen, he can stifle if it comes into playability.
Okay. Well, it is a Shard Phoenix, so.
This gives Rich more looks at his deck now, though, because I guess he technically gets an aura back, but he gets some lands he doesn't want to see too.
Well, what do you mean by more looks?
So like he had already thinned out some of his stuff from his deck, so he was more answer.
Yeah,
Points.
I think that the shuffling is bad for Rich because he
Yeah.
just shuffled in some dead cards. So
Yep.
the likelihood of him seeing a relevant card in these top 3 with the Sylvan Library is lower.
Yes. Yep. The only thing he gets back is aura, which he probably doesn't want. Because again, that can be stifled.
Oh, is he just stifling the Sylvan Library trigger?
I guess maybe.
Just trying to deny him some draws or some looks. We've got a guy's blessing.
Rush is doing the full 11, I bet.
All right, I think it just needs to be Swords of Plowshares here, right? And it is.
It could be swords or steel because he does have.
Oh,
Oh
yep.
no, he already played a land.
Nope,
That's game.
it's not there.
Yep.
So
right.
the Dreadnought deck is up 2-0. But you did talk. Okay, we can move over to the decks. I'll jump over there. I do.
It gets a lot more fair for Rich after Sideboard.
Okay, I'll bring up Rich's list. Okay.
Yep.
So his sideboard is 2 Meddling Mage, 2 Rave Revelation, I think it's a Karmic Justice, Duress, Aura of Silence, Akroma, Angel of Wrath, Argivian Find, Red Elemental Blast, Gerard's Verdict, Tormod's Crypt, Pyroclasm, Circle of Protection Red, and Engineered Plague. So cards that I'm interested in: 2 Meddling Mage, 1 Duress, 1 Aura of Silence, Argivian Find, Red Elemental Blast. I think we've seen the Gerard's Verdict. I don't think you need the Tormod's Crypt.
No, but they definitely sided the very. I think they sided in the Akroma too.
Okay. Cards that are poor: Engineered Plague, Shard Phoenix, a Rave Revelation. Yep.
Tormod's Crypt.
Okay. Oh, well, Ivory Tower probably. Like, is Zuran Orb still something you want to like manipulate your land count?
I think they still keep both the Ivory Tower and the Zuran Orb. Ivory Tower can actually get you above 2 hits.
Okay.
I've seen them pull out the Oath of Druids.
I don't think Rich did that in previous matches. I thought that might be something he would do.
Yep.
But he might cut on some of them.
Ray of Revelation definitely comes out.
Yeah.
So we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We definitely got 7, possibly 8 cards coming in.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's tough. There's not that many obvious choices, I think, for Rich to take out. So the sideboarding game is pretty interesting. So
yep.
I'll jump over to Sven's list. So the sideboard: 4 Annul, a Null Rod, 2 Curse Totem, 2 Winter Orb, 2 Hydroblast, 2 Blue Elemental Blast, a Boomerang, and a Misdirection. Anything jumping out? The 4 Annuls you talked about.
4 Annuls, Boomerang, I think are all good.
So you like Boomerang? Is it just? Yeah. Are you probably boomeranging like an Aura Silence, or is there what cards?
Boomerang Aura. You can Boomerang Scroll Rack.
Okay.
I Boomerang Scroll Rack a few times. You can actually like technically too. You can just Boomerang their land sometimes. To land screw them. So that can come up. He's got the Force Spike that he probably doesn't want.
Yeah, Null Rod probably is good enough. Mox Diamonds and Scroll Racks, I think.
I guess. I don't know if that's really a fight you want to fight. Maybe it is. I don't think the winter orbs are good.
No. Misdirection can't redirect like a seal cleansing activation, right?
No.
Okay. I was saying.
You don't have anything to point the swords at either.
Yeah.
You can misdirect Gerard's verdict.
That's what Chad is talking about. So.
Yeah.
So what cards? What cards are you taking out for Sven?
I don't know. I don't like intuition, but maybe he likes it a lot. I think Portent is not a great card.
Okay.
I think Sven's probably gonna pull a few lands too, though.
Sure.
We saw him pull out lands in some other matches. So I could see him going down a few lands.
You keeping in that force spike?
I think I want to keep him in Force Spike myself.
Okay.
And then Disrupt is actually less good against Rich than against some of the other Parfait decks. He's only, I mean, he's got 2 Dresses and a Verdict, and then he does have the Red Elemental Blast, but it's not as good.
Yeah, the
You can always Force Spike a
swords to Plowshares and Lane Tutors. Yeah, there's just not even that many targets, I guess, to like to cycle it off of.
Yeah.
But
There is just the fact that you can just disrupt anything and just cycle it though. So maybe it's never really a dead card. What do you think you pull out if you're mono blue?
I probably cut a land or two, Intuition, and probably Portents. I think I like Opt more than Portent.
Yeah, me too.
The instant speed I think is actually kind of relevant. Like the way those games played out, you saw like Sven trying to leave up mana for counter spells. He wasn't even able to impulse. Well, it's way harder to impulse if you're like spending 1 mana on your turn with like for a Portent. Yep. So and like I mean I don't know if the games necessarily go long, but like
they're gonna go super long after Sideboard.
Okay.
Because Rich gets a whole bunch of answers. Well, I think they're gonna go longer at least. There's also a factor with playing with Portents that I wasn't used to, in that you oftentimes have to put your best card second card down because you don't want to draw it and get a Duress or Cabal Therapy.
Okay.
Or Verdict. So there was a slight learning curve from that too in playing that card.
I might take out some of the Dazes. I don't know. I'm a fan of taking out Dazes. I feel like if Rich is playing around him, which we saw he was, I might sideboard some out.
Fair. I like Daze in this matchup though. I think we saw in that game after maybe 1 land tax, then Rich actually kept playing lands and he couldn't land tax anymore, which was huge.
Okay, looks like players are shuffling up. We'll jump back down to the match. All right, so Rich just got to win 3 straight for him to be the champion, but Sven just needs 1 more game. So.
Yep.
Someone had described this match as that both the decks were evil. They're both the bad guy. That Parfait Oath is the bad guy, and Mono Blue Stiflenought has been such a menace that it's become the bad guy. I feel like I was a hero for a little bit, but I don't know if we can call it a hero anymore.
I think in this one it's the hero because Parfait just takes so long in some of these matches.
There is something cool. I do like how the Parfait decks are like designed, or just like the theory of like the way it wins is basically just not dying. And I think that's kind of cool. All right, we got things kicking off with a Windswept Heath that will be fetching a forest. So green mana is Oath and Sylvan Library. What are the other green cards?
Oath, Sylvan. I guess technically Blessing.
Yeah.
That's really it. He doesn't have the Crumble. His new list, I think, has Crumble in the sideboard.
Okay. We do see an early Oath of Druids.
Yep. So he left that in.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, Force Spike. Got him. Got him.
Right, Sven does not have a second land that he plays. How often did you have like one land hands when you play this deck?
Quite often.
Quite often.
Yeah. You have so much card draw to get out of it, though. Oh, there's a null.
A null getting rid of a scroll rack.
There you go, important. I also played 16 inside down to 15 a lot, so.
Okay.
Shuffles.
And was that just when you were on the draw, or just when you expected the sideboard games to go a little bit longer?
When I just expected the games to go longer when I was playing a more grindy match.
Okay.
Like against the Rock, against Parfait decks.
Right, Portent has shuffled the library, so Sven will be getting a fresh new card during
Next turn.
Rich's upkeep.
Yep. Next turn.
Did you forget any? Did you forget any Portent triggers?
I forgot one, but I still got to do it.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That's why you don't like the card, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's amazing what a difference between that and Ponder is. Like.
Yeah, certainly. All right, we've got a Seal of Cleansing. There is a mana up for Rich. Does leaving green up mean anything? Okay, it does. There's a guy's blessing afterwards. So the Seal of Cleansing resolved. I guess that's probably the point that we should highlight. And the card he shuffled back was just Scroll Rack.
Yep.
So at this point, when you're facing like a resolved Seal Cleansing, Sven's low on mana. You got. I guess you kind of get to the point where you have the combo. You need to have probably 3 mana.
Stifle.
Yeah, an extra Stifle or a Vision Charm to protect your Dreadnought.
Yep.
He's going to discard. He's discarding an Impulse, but has not found another land.
He might just be bluffing the foil, just trying to get Rich to play some jokes.
I guess the one thing is Rich's deck will not often punish you. I think the most punishing. I mean, it's hard. Like how does Rich punish Sven for missing all these land drops? I mean, like
really just Sylvan Library.
Sylvan Library, getting a scroll rack, or silence. And even those are cards that kind of like, they make Sven's life more difficult, but he still can like answer. Like an Aura Silence. In Aura Silence, you can kind of, with enough time, it doesn't actually pressure his life total. So it's just. So.
Aura gets you though, because now you need almost like 5 mana to go off if they play Aura.
You probably would need to find like a Boomerang.
Yep.
All right,
the Impulse.
On the second mana, now have an Impulse.
Impulse is still one of the best feelings in Magic, unless you get four Vision Charms in your Impulse.
Did that happen to you?
Yeah, it happened against Adrian.
Did you pretend like, oh, this is a tough decision?
Oh no, I showed it to the camera.
Okay. I think I remember you said that, and I'm like, whenever people try and like tilt things up to the camera, they never position it correctly. So.
Oh, fair enough. Because Adrian called it out right away.
You say 4 Vision Charms, or you said 4 islands?
It was 4 Vision Charms.
Okay.
Yeah. It was all 4 of them.
You picked the best one though, right?
Yes. I picked the Korean one.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Did you ever draw the Korean one and be like, oh, I don't remember what all 3 modes of a Vision Charm are? Did you use any of the alternate modes of it? Did you mill?
I used the mill. I used the phase out, and then I wanted to use the lands when really bad against somebody.
Okay.
But there's never a time where it was actually. But I really, really wanted to use it. I was so far ahead. I just wanted to like port them out.
What were you playing against? What?
I was playing against the Rock, and I just wanted to deny him of black mana.
Just for like one turn.
Yeah, just to like so he couldn't come back, but it didn't matter.
All right, we got Sven going back to his old habits of discarding.
Yep.
Discards a days.
Blessing for blessing. Notice that Rich has no interest in that Oath of Druids.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree. I don't think Oath is that very good in this matchup.
No.
Like the creature you don't get is very impactful, and like if you're oathing into a meddling mage, I feel like it's already the work has already been done for Sven.
Ooh, oathing in the meddling mage is pretty good though.
What are you usually naming? Stifle or Vision Charm?
No, you named a Dreadnought.
But doesn't that mean that a Dreadnought's already in play?
Oh, that way. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I actually think that these decks should be playing the Weaver still. Like, I always thought Weaver was a great Oath target. I'm gonna guess Boomerang on Seal. Boom. So I'm gonna hope that Sven's got a null to fight this Seal on the way back down.
I have to imagine. Well, I mean, given that he's had to discard, I can maybe see a world where he's boomerang just for not discarding it, but I have to imagine he's likely to have a counterspell here. Oh, are we gushing?
Yeah, we're gushing.
Do you think is he trying to resolve Dreadnought here then? And has cards like foil?
I don't think he is because I think he just doesn't have any other lands to play. So this gives him new cards and a land. You gotta have a lot of protection in it because Rich could have any number of stuff.
I mean, if he's not able to do anything, he's going to be discarding so many cards though, right?
Yeah.
Because he discarded last turn. If he drew a card and then returned 2 lands, used a card, and drew one, he'd had to like discard like 3 cards, I think.
We should have 9 cards in hand right now, right?
7, 8, 8.
Oh, he's going for it.
11 cards? What I count? You'd have 8 on your turn. You would use 1 down to 7, but return 2
Well,
up to 9 plus 2.
Right to end the turn.
Okay.
So untap up to draw 7.
I think you would have 10 then.
Yeah. So
right.
he's going. So I'm gonna guess he's got a null for the seal.
Yep, could be foil as well, I think.
Yeah.
So Swords of Plowshares is targeting the Dreadnought after the Stifle. There is a Vision Charm to protect it there.
Yep.
So here, now you just go for the Seal Cleansing? Or,
yeah, you go for the Seal Cleansing.
Rich might have a Duress. This would be a spot like, and I think some players would just fire off a Duress, like previous turns can like see what's up and like,
yep.
But like this is where Duress is really good because you're trying to force through a spell.
Or Verdict.
Oh, or Seal Cleansing.
Seal.
All right, so.
Okay. So now Sven might have protected his hand with just another Stifle too.
Mm-hmm.
And Sven didn't have to discard anything there, right? Yeah. So he had 9 down to 7.
He used 3 cards. Yeah.
Oh. Melee Mage, naming Stifle.
Could name Vision Charm as well.
Yep.
That's the awkward thing. It's just like I don't know which one is. I guess I would probably name Vision Charm because it protects against Swords of Plowshares as well if you were to draw it.
And you just use 1 of each.
Yeah. This daze is being used on a Sylvan Library. This is probably the only time you're going to be able to daze something. So
Dreadnought dies.
Yes. Okay. Did they notify us what what it named?
I think he's writing it down right now. Stifle.
Okay. All right, the 2/2 comes in. I mean, so this is kind of what we talked about, that like Rich's deck doesn't pressure life total, and now you're in a situation where you just have a 2/2. I mean, it's not, obviously it's not impressive, but like it makes a huge difference of like if they're just playing draw go, Sven's life total is depleting because of the meddling mage.
And he just cut out half his answers to keeping his Dreadnought in play.
Mm-hmm.
Like Stifle plays a pretty big part against this deck. Another scroll rack.
All right, the scroll rack is putting back 3 cards. It
3.
looks like.
Yep.
And Rich has an Enlightened Tutor, so that'll shuffle away the cards that he just put back. Give him new looks at new cards. You getting land tax? Or no, not land tax.
Using it Aura.
We get Zur's. Oh, he doesn't have a blue source.
I mean, he might have. Oh no, he put back Undiscovered.
Oh, Aura sounds okay.
Yeah.
I would say we didn't really talk about the Zur's weirding, but if you're ever ahead in a situation, let's not talk about it.
Let's not. Yeah, no, I get it.
That card's awesome.
That card is. Rich puts it to good use too. That's really his kill card.
Yeah, it's certain matchups it's just lights out.
Yeah. And Duress. Two stifles. What do you think of this dress?
I guess you're trying to resolve a Aura Silence, so that makes sense. What do you take? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I might just take Gush. It takes a Vision Charm. Okay. That makes sense too.
Yeah. I was only got 2 Vision Charms left in the deck now.
Like, I don't think you need to take Counterspell because you have if you didn't have Meddling Mage in play, then it might be a little bit different. But like here, you're fine playing Drago because you're chipping away.
Yep.
Is Sven at 16 or at 14? I think he's at.
He's been hit 3 times, I think.
Chad has asked how many boomerangs does Sven have left. He has 1 in the main and 1 in the sideboard, and we think he brought 1 in. So.
And he's got no Reality Ripple to get rid of the Meddling Mage. That's another use for that card.
So now he's at 12, right? Is that what Sven's at?
I think so.
Okay.
Well, Rich is actually keeping track of it, so yeah, 12. Gosh.
So Sven either needs to find Dreadnought plus Stifle, or Dreadnought plus Vision Charm, or a way to answer the Meddling Mage.
He needs Boomerang from Meddling Mage to get unlock his Stifles, or he needs Vision Charm foil.
Okay, because he knows about the Aura Silence. Yep. He could have a null, right?
Yep, he could have a null. Could just power out a bunch of lands too. She's got 8 cards now.
Yeah, I think Rich is in like pretty good shape. So, I guess one thing that's kind of cool. So in this situation, Rich, I mean, it makes sense. Like he picks up because he had the aura sounds revealed because of Enlightened Tutor, but now he picked it up. In theory, he could have put it back. So now his hand is unknown.
Yep. He's just doing score arc for 2. It looks like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing that aura sounds is still in his hand, but
Discard the island.
right, Meddling Mage comes over. He's done half the work. Do you think Meddling Mage is going to deal 20 points of damage?
I do.
Okay.
I might have to deal more if a Dreadnought gets swords.
That's true.
Can you imagine the look on that Melee Mage's face? He gets him down to 2. He's like, I gotta do another 12, bro.
It's like working overtime.
Yeah. I don't get paid enough for this.
All right, Gerard's verdict.
This card is so evil.
What if you just discard the stifles?
That's true too. Yeah, there you go.
Nice Meddling Mage.
Go work, bro. I don't know why this every time this happens, it just feels so broken. Full 2, draw 2.
Oh yeah.
I can still play another land. I am the combo deck.
Well, the nice thing, like a lot of times with some other decks, you don't want to gush because it like sets you back on mana and just for future turns. But like the Dreadnought deck just operates so well with little mana. We do have a Null Rod.
That will turn off Scroll Rack. I did 5 mana gush against the Parfait deck.
Okay.
We both kind of looked at each other like there is a hidden mode you can just pay 5 mana for it.
All right, so Null Rod in play, shutting off the Scroll Rack would shut off any future Mox Diamonds. There is an Aura of Silence. I don't like. Is that something you're willing to use your Aura of Silence on?
I think so.
Okay, just so you can continue to find or like sculpt your hand.
Yeah. No, it's with Scroll Rack though. Like once you go down 1 card, then Scroll Rack gets considerably worse, right? Because you just look at the same cards over and over.
I might make the argument though, like if he's just at 6, like I think I would just leave the Aura Silence, and because the way you're gonna lose this game is a Dreadnought coming down. You don't need anything else right now. Right.
Do another stifle.
What are you taking here? I take Gush. Yep.
Gush,
okay.
Yep.
So there's Counter Magic and Stifle, which has been named with the Meddling Mage. So
there's not really much Sven can do here, right?
No. He needs to find Boomerang.
Yeah, he's now drawn all 4 of his stifles.
Or and then like drawing Vision Charm is Vision Charm could be all right, I think, on this turn.
Does he have 1 or 2 Vision Charms left? Do we know?
I don't know exactly.
I think he used one. He got one Duress, maybe.
Was this a game he used it to mill, or
I
was that a
think it
different
might
game?
be. Yeah.
All right, I think Sven at 4 or 2. I think he's at 2, right? Yep. Medley Mage does all 20 points of damage for Rich Shay. Uh,
That was
and
impressive.
also prevents Stifle from bidding cast. I guess that was pretty relevant. But yeah,
Yeah.
so Rich takes game number 3. Do you think there needs to be more cards in the mono blue Stiflenought list that deal with permanence better? Because it's really just like 2 boomerang and like a reality ripple in some lists, right? Like it's
So I'm a big fan of Interdict.
okay.
Like Interdict might be one of those cards that like they use a seal, you just interdict, you draw a card. That might be a cool card, but there's not a lot of cards that are available to you. You know, you can't really capsize with buyback.
Mm-hmm.
Your deck's got 15, 16, 17 lands. It's not that viable. What would you think that would be in there?
Would Powder Keg be a nice like? I guess it doesn't get enchantments.
Doesn't get a chance. Navinra's Disc, you're just like,
I mean,
we're gonna do it. Like,
uh,
yeah,
the, well, it's certainly not good against Aura Silence.
yeah.
I'm trying to think of a card. It just I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, Temporal Adept might actually be really good to just
Mm-hmm.
get it down and bounce that stuff.
Yep, I can see that.
That might be a cool card.
Good in the mirror too.
Yeah, I played Waterfront Bouncer. I didn't play a single game.
Okay, so you never played the mirror then?
No,
Right.
everybody was afraid. They stayed away.
Do you think were there matchups that you would have brought Temporal Adept in if it were a Temporal Adept in your sideboard as compared to a Waterfront Bouncer?
I think so. Like even like in this deck, like bouncing their Mox Diamonds might be like it's an annoyance factor, but it might just be good.
Are
Like
you worried about like triggering Oath?
I'm not because they all pulled Oath out against me.
Okay.
Like I didn't see an Oath games 2 or 3, so maybe Rich just doesn't have enough cards to pull, and he kept a couple Oaths in because of that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of sideboard cards to make this deck not just have better answer to resolve spells that like isn't like super narrow.
Yeah,
Just has more applications, but
Boomerang's pretty good though. Like it's really it's just a good role player, you know.
yeah. Is there? Yeah, I don't know. Is there
I
any
don't
card
think
that
there's
like any card that returns all artifacts and enchantments to their owner's hands?
there's
Like a
Argivian Restoration. I think that puts an artifact into play from the graveyard, but it's 4 mana.
yeah, like a Hercule's Recall for enchantments. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, that'd be good. If there's a Null Rod for enchantments, that'd be really good too. But I don't think there is.
Well, if it is, it's probably not blue or colorless.
Yeah. I actually had the thought of just sideboarding Felden's Cane against these decks.
I don't
Let
think.
them blow up all your stuff and just Felden's Cane it out back and restart. Like,
All right, Rich is gonna start things off with a land tax. So we're gonna try and play this little game where Sven's. I'm guessing he doesn't want to play a second land, at least not for a while. Would you agree?
I think you just power through it.
Okay.
Land tax isn't the scariest without Scroll Rack in my book.
Get to draw 3 cards, but they're all basic lands.
Yep. He might not get 3 again. He might get 2 or 1. There we go.
Does Rich have a basic island in his deck?
No.
No.
Nope. He only has. Well, I mean, I guess he does have melee mage. We got Zerwari and melee mage.
Yeah.
No islands.
It's got the Undiscovered Paradises and the Mox Diamonds.
Yep.
So that's what
He's
he
also
would
got
need to
Serra,
cast.
Sanctum.
Yeah, well, that doesn't help you cast Meddling Mage, but you know.
No.
All right, Swamp
Boom.
and Duress.
He does go up to 3 dresses right after sideboard.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
the 7th edition cards are the sideboard ones.
Oh, tricky.
I think that's same with Engineered Plague, and I can't remember if there was another card that was a 7th edition in the sideboard. All right, so Sven's hand is Opt, Vision Charm, Impulse, Dreadnought. So Sven had the option to play a Dreadnought on turn 2 and Vision Charm it away. I think I would have. With a backup, the backup Dreadnought?
He has no protection for it, though.
But, okay, yeah, I guess.
You want some protection.
I guess like waiting one turn, like here you get the Impulse and likely find another piece of interaction.
Yep. I mean, now he just lost because of the dress, but
yeah.
But I mean, you have Impulse, Opt, so you can find whatever you're looking for, in theory. I lost 10 or 11 cards. Boom. And he got rich with this card. Did you ever read the Impulse like a Pro article?
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
There was like I think someone made like a pre-modern version of that with like a lot of the known pre-modern players. I think it was with Impulse, or it was some other card, or they just kind of like tied it to each known person, and so it was fun. I can't remember. I think I don't know who started it for the pre-modern community, but a lot of people kind of pitched in and added to it. I thought it was pretty fun.
I always like that. Yeah.
What would yours be? Probably something about the Goblin Mountain art in some way. It was like cast an Impulse and find a Goblin Mountain, put it into play.
Cast Impulse, take the best looking card regardless of the situation.
I don't know what mine would be.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think someone made one for me, but maybe they did, and I don't remember it. But we've got a early Meddling Mage. Well,
I'm gonna counterspell that. Oh, Opt. In
this spot, are you just naming Phyrexian Dreadnought?
I think so, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would.
I mean, he's only got 2 options to get out of that then.
It's just the 2 boomerangs then, right? Or
yep.
Yeah.
Impulse, and he's looking for foil, maybe? Or boomerang. Yeah, that's actually why I was leaning so heavily all week for the blue-white version of this deck.
Mm-hmm.
Because Melee Mage is just almost game over against you sometimes.
Well, I guess it's tricky in the mirror because it's like you can't really name, if you're playing Stiflenought, you can't really name to prevent your opponent a mono blue player because it's going to impact you. But you're just saying it. You just think Meddling Mage is really powerful.
Yeah, I think you can. I think if you're playing blue white against mono blue, you just name the Dreadnought because you've got a clock now. They don't.
Okay. Oh, right. That's fair.
Yeah. These invitational cards, they should be banned in Premodern.
Why?
I mean, look what Melee Mage is doing here. Can you imagine if somebody had a Rootwire Thief in play? Like, the invitational cards are way too good. Avalanche Riders? Also broken.
Sylvan Safekeeper.
Is that even legal?
Yeah, it's from Judgment. Yeah. We did see a Void Mage Prodigy. You lost to a Void Mage Prodigy yesterday.
Yes. It wasn't even the promo one, it was like the original one too.
I kind of like that one.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kai. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so with this meddling mage, the game's pretty binary at this point, right? For Sven, he just has to find a boomerang first, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing I'm overlooking, right?
No. Now he's gotta find Boomerang, and then he's also gotta find at least one more combo piece to go with the Dreadnought. Maybe Void Mage Prodigy is a good card for the mono blue deck.
The thing I don't like is it doesn't solve the issue of like things that have already resolved.
Yeah, but like if they've already resolved an aura, then you just attack through it.
Okay. Rich is going to go for a scroll rack on his turn, and
Looks like it might get annulled.
it does.
Yep.
I mean, I guess it's not good for Rich, but it's kind of like, in some senses, it feels like it just doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
I guess there's not very many ways that like Rich can really protect this meddling mage.
I mean, the only thing he's got is he's got the one red elemental blast. That's really it.
I guess if he found like an Armageddon here, that could be okay.
That could be insane. I mean, you said that Rich sometimes just leaves that kind of stuff in too, so. He could just be playing the Mageageddon deck right now.
Or just like
Armageddon.
a second meddling mage would just name Dreadnought again, right? Or just name Boomerang. I don't know.
Boomerang, yeah. You think you're ever so far ahead you just name something that doesn't exist with meddling mage? Or like
against a friend, maybe.
Yeah, you're just so far ahead. You're like,
it would have to be like one turn. Like,
yeah.
I don't know, but I think in almost every situation, other than that, I would be naming just a redundant card. Would you name like Abandon Hope? I think that's what people used to do on Magic Online.
I think there's a card called I Win, isn't there?
Probably.
I think there might be an unglued I Win card.
There was one from like the D&D set that I can't remember. It was something that was kind of like a rub-in, but you are already dead. That's what it was.
There you go.
Oh, I think I might have missed the life totals. I can't see where we're at. 16, I think. Okay. Rich has an Enlightened Tutor. What card are you getting here? Aura Silence?
Yep.
Scroll Rack?
I think you just get Aura. Maybe he gets Serra's Wording?
Oh, well, yeah. I don't mind that. Aura Silence, okay.
Serra's Wording would be brutal here, too.
I mean, he might not have it in the deck, I don't know. But if you're able to resolve Serra's Wording, I have to imagine you just win.
Yeah.
Just gonna prevent him from drawing the 2 boomerangs in his deck. You almost could just deny every card draw and just attack with a 2/2.
I mean, that is kind of how this deck wins, right? Under normal circumstances, Zuran Orb, Serra's Wording, and then land text.
I mean, in theory, you could have it where you just like are not dying and casting Armageddon over and over and over, and have 4 Mox Diamonds in play, and then Gaia's Blessing. And if they can't kill you, then you're gonna deck them. That's another way, but yeah, I think.
Look at this guy, just keeps drawing the same Duress over and over.
Sven is contemplating whether he wants to let this resolve.
There was a very early Parfait version of a deck from the Madison area called Gaea's Trash that would just get something in play and then just keep Armageddoning 1 land away.
Okay. I have a question. What if Sven has the boomerang in his hand, but he hasn't used it because he doesn't have like the Vision Charm or Stifle? And now it's gonna get Duressed away. How bad would that feel?
I think he's that's bad because even if you do have the boomerang now, oh, there you go. There's the game.
All right.
Unless he's double gushing.
We're casting Thwart. Oh no. All right.
Oh, foil.
Oh no. It's 2/4. Okay.
Oh.
He's hard casting foil. Okay. Did you hard cast any foils yesterday?
Yes, I did. It was a sick feeling because like dismiss you get to draw a card, at least foil you just pay 4.
I mean, not having to discard a card is kind of like drawing a card, right?
It is, yeah. The drawback of foil is significant. Like,
yeah,
it's really significant. All right, so now Sven's in a
or a silence has come down and
much worse situation now.
Yep, I'm guessing it'll go pretty quick that this Meddling Mage is we'll say it's the same one, right? Going to deal 40 points of damage over 2 games. All right. Look at this. We're cruising now. We'll draw, go, and attack with a 2/2. And Rich has, I think, 6 cards in hand total.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell. They look so thick. I think he's got them like triple sleeved or something.
Yeah, his deck is definitely accordion.
It's to fake them out that like I'm playing Battle of Wits.
Yeah.
All right.
Meddling Mage just changed the dynamic of this match so much. Like
it's funny because it just makes, once it's resolved, it makes the Dreadnought deck like look so bad.
Yeah, it really does.
I guess that's probably the answer of like if you're trying to beat the Mono Blue Stiflenought list, I think that's probably the best answer right now.
Sam had it in his Parfait deck and said it was great.
I kind of like it just in general, and like the control strategies if like people are boarding out their removal.
Yeah.
Just in a lot of decks, if you're not prepared for a Meddling Mage, I think you can be in trouble. We do have a boomerang.
Oh, we're gonna get the fight. He doesn't have enough mana to. What's he gonna boomerang here though? He doesn't have enough mana to actually fight the Aura too.
He could have if he has a Stifle, you pay 3 for the no. If you have Vision, no, because the Vision, you just do it in response to the Vision Charm.
Yeah.
You
really need 5 mana to fight the Aura. You need Dreadnought and then 2.
Yeah. I mean, he could counter the Meddling Mage on the way back down, and then have more time.
He's definitely got counter spell for it now.
Yeah.
What about just casting Upheaval out of the Dreadnought deck?
6 mana? I don't know.
Or 8 mana. Well, you need 6.
6 and then
Then 2. You definitely got foil and island in your hand at that point. Like, nice job, land tax deck. I mean, Mono Blue could just side in like Ancient Tombs to get to the Upheaval mana.
This feels like I don't know if maybe you just really want to cast Upheaval, or if
You
you're
got your
just
go long package. You
yeah.
just call it the go long package, like like Palancron, untap, some other stuff. We got some discards. It's the what is it?
Looks ops on
Ops.
top. Yeah.
Oh, he must have a pretty stacked hand if he's discarding opt, right?
You
Opt is a premier
might
card.
need a card like Island for Gush or for foil.
Yep.
If you had multiple foils and you need multiple islands. I mean, Portent seems like one of the worst cards, right?
Ever printed? Yeah, I
maybe
agree.
not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe you're able to use your mana on your turn and just have 2 mana up.
Mox Diamond. He's just trying to get him to use the counterspell on Mox Diamond. Doesn't work. That doesn't give him another source of blue mana, though. Oh, he says go.
I kind of like
Kind of
that.
trickery is that? Yeah. Impulse here. Oh,
Ooh.
We have both boomerangs.
Okay.
All right. Now we're fighting. Which had a discard.
It's got Undiscovered Paradise.
Yep.
So here,
Richie's got 7 cards in hand. We know 2 of them. So he's got 5 mysteries.
yeah, and like Meddling Mage, even if a Dreadnought like comes down, you might be able to play Meddling Mage and name like Vision Charm or Foil or something, or
Definitely, yeah.
and then try and resolve the Orthons. It's pretty tricky because there's so many like different spells that interact. For you to guess the right one is kind of hard, but
I think if there's already a Dreadnought in play and you're trying to resolve swords, though, you're just going to name probably a foil or counterspell.
yeah.
He hasn't used a counterspell yet, I don't think. Nope. He's only got 3, though, too. How many swords do you think Rich is holding?
Well, whose turn are we on right now? Is Sven
I think
thinking?
it's around 10s, yeah.
Okay. I would say if just from body language, if we were still on Rich's turn, then it might not be as many. Just did Sven just get up?
Yeah.
He's like,
Sven's just...
I'm done
He's going to
here.
wait out.
I'm
He's
done
going to wait
here.
out Rich. He's like...
Take this Parfait deck. I'm gonna grind you down.
I'm waiting you out. I mean, Rich hasn't had really an opportunity to manipulate his deck too much, so you might have 1 swords, maybe. I would hope.
Yeah, it seems likely that there would be a Swords to Plowshares, but I guess it's not a given. But
Yeah.
do you think the lack of Rich playing the Meddling Mage has changed how Sven thought this was going to play out?
I think so. There might also be a situation where Rich wants to wait for his or his red elemental blast to protect the melee mage from a counterspell.
Okay.
So that, I mean, Rich has all day, right? He doesn't.
I mean, he has that availability now. There's 2 Undiscovered Paradise and a Mox Diamond.
Mox, yeah. Or he might be waiting for a Duress to clear the path too.
Yeah,
See
I
what
can
he's playing
definitely see
against.
that.
Did his verdict get shuffled back in? Or maybe we didn't even see it this game.
Yeah, I think the latter. I don't think he's cast it this game.
1, 2. We're only 1 mana away from Akroma coming down.
Was it you talking about that last time? We were
What?
covering one of Rich's matches, and you were just like, we're all about him casting Akroma, or was that somebody
No,
else?
that was me.
Okay.
I like how the 8-mana Akroma is just kind of outclassed by the 1-mana Dreadnought. Like,
It flies over. I don't know. Saves you 6 life at some point.
yeah. Discard Dreadnought.
Okay, so Sven, after all that he contemplated, he did not go for anything.
Nope.
Interesting.
Maybe he's already got another Dreadnought in hand too.
Well, I'm just thinking, like, why cast the boomerang if you're not gonna go for it?
Well,
In that one spot.
yeah, that's true too. I think he was. That's very true. He also had both boomerangs in hand, so
Yeah. Well, the one got used on the melee mage on the turn before, but
yeah.
I guess maybe just the Sven's read on the situation had changed after that sequence.
The way Rich is playing, I almost think Rich might have his red Elemental Blast. I don't know why I had that feeling.
Do you have a feeling he has Akroma?
No, you just smash that down, right? The guy already discarded Daze. He's not gonna.
Do you imagine getting your Akroma dazed? It's just like, would you just flip the table, just run away?
You just blessing it back and then try again.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what the most expensive spell I've ever had dazed was. I've probably had like some 7-drop dazed in cube.
I've had Omniscience. Is that a card?
Omniscience, yeah. I think it's
I've had that dazed.
Were you hard casting that?
Yes. Yep. All right, I think Sven's gonna go. Yep.
All right, so here is where things we might see some fireworks. Okay, so vision. Oh. Could be a vision charm. Could be a stifle. He definitely has a vision charm in hand.
Yeah.
Nope. Now goes with the stifle. Okay.
The mind games these guys play.
Yeah. Do you think that was intentional?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think modern day players do that as much as back in the day, but
I'm trying to think what advantage that would gain you by like revealing that vision charm, but
Sven just might be really old school and just be like, I got all these, don't even try fighting me.
So
it resolves.
Yeah, it looks like it resolves. Well, I guess that doesn't necessarily mean there's not a red elemental blast, but
yeah.
I think I would red elemental blast there. If I had it, would you?
It depends. If he's got swords,
I guess.
Then I think.
I mean, he has a vision charm, so maybe I don't know. Maybe you're just gonna fight over. Well, I guess the vision charm still protects against aura silence as well.
Yep. So now we're gonna see if Rich has swords. Maybe end of turn swords you, and then
the meddling mage in his hand is like, please, I don't want to attack 6 more times. No.
I mean, to be fair, he's had a break.
Yeah,
he's had the union allowed break.
Is it a break or is it a vacation? I guess if you go like back in the deck, that's a vacation, and just back in the hand that's PTO or is that or just on break? Yeah, okay.
You're still on call just in case you need to come to work. Like.
Okay.
Is Rich getting them now too? Both these guys are just storming off the table from time to time.
Did he get up? I didn't see it.
They're going and talking to the coaches. They're like, at one of these times, we need someone to actually throw a towel in when they're going to concede. Like,
or wave a little white flag.
Yeah.
Please.
Make it stop. So at this point, actually, like the Vision Charm thing, like how sick would it be if Sven is just trying to get him to play Melee Mage naming Vision Charm? Could that be like a thing?
It's possible.
Now Rich is gonna like untap Melee Mage naming Vision Charm, Aura, and then he's got the Stifle for the Aura or the Annul.
But if you, what card would he name if he didn't know there was a Vision Charm in his hand? Like if you name Stifle, and they're just, if he has both, then it doesn't matter, right?
Right. Right.
I mean, I guess Stifle is a little bit better if you're trying to deal 12 damage. Like Vision Charm would phase, like, so assuming that Rich would do it during Sven's upkeep.
Yep.
If Sven wants to attack with the 12-12, it's better to Stifle the activation than Vision Charm because you miss an attack step.
Right.
So
it's also, I guess there's similar, but it's also, this is a situation I came into a play a couple times, and that you're not sure which to do sometimes, especially if they have like target removal and stuff. So it's definitely interesting which one you want to go with sometimes.
Well, it's especially in this matchup because there's both Swords to Plowshares and the Aura Silence or Seal Cleansing. So like,
yeah,
most of the time you say like, oh, they have Swords to Plowshares. I think I use the Stifle initially and use the Vision Charm to protect it. But here, I guess the Vision Charm protects it both ways against both those cards. Yeah, I think Vision Charm just in general is better at protecting your Dreadnought.
Now we got Gush. Gush is just sick rubbins here. Replay land. I think Vision Charm might be a little bit better at protecting you in the long run.
I can't think of a single card that Vision Charm would be worse at protecting that Stifle also would protect. Right? Or one that Stifle would protect that Vision Charm would not. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Where are... Is it...
I don't know why we have the Vision Charm floating now.
Is this... During the upkeep, he's changing the colors of a basic land? That, with 3 Undiscovered Paradise and a Mox Diamond, that doesn't seem right.
You can't be doing that. I don't know what's going on, though.
I am not
sure. How many times do you think that ability's been played historically? Like
just a number?
Yeah. I mean, the card's like, what, 20 years old now?
I mean...
You think it's over 100 times it's been played historically?
Yes.
Just some casual trying to fix their mana?
Yeah. How, like, what would be your over-under?
5?
5? Oh, I'm way over. There's probably
20 years.
There's probably one person who's cast it more than 5 times on that mode.
There's probably one guy that plays a mono blue deck that just wants to cast some other spell.
Well, especially like someone probably made a deck where like it did something really cool. Like maybe it just like turned everything into, I don't know why you would turn them all into swamps for bubbling muck, but maybe that's your pre-modern deck, right? Or does it change their type or just change their mana?
I think
it changes the type. Are all lands of one type are basic lands of your type? And so I think with bubbling muck.
So I don't remember it, but maybe there's a time when mono blue players were just like, in response to your boil.
Okay.
Islands are now mountains. Maybe that was a thing at some time.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like a pre-modern, you could have all islands and then make them into swamps with Vision Charm and then cast your bubbling muck.
And now you're high tiding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you don't have any blue mana? I don't know. Alright, so...
So he upkeeped and then Vision Charmed during Rich's...
During Rich's turn?
Yeah.
What is the thought process for that? You're playing around Swords to Plowshares in this very moment? No, you're not.
No.
What card... I am confused.
I'm not really sure what we missed there. Because you still gotta fight everything on your upkeep then during if he has any cards.
It would have to be like a sorcery speed card, like a Wrath of God. That would, but you could just do it if they cast it.
Yeah.
Chat, could you think of any situation of why a Vision Charm in that time would make sense?
But more importantly, if you accidentally show Division Charm and then you have Stifle instead, right? And then why would you then go ahead with why don't you just go ahead with Division Charm? There he discards counterspell, so that's a heads up play.
And a Null Rod, yeah.
Yep. There's 2, 3. Here's the aura. This is get annulled.
It is.
Yep. The proper artwork this time too. I appreciate that. Oh.
Now there's a Duress.
That's interesting.
Well, this gives you information about meddling mage.
Yeah. It's interesting he didn't just Duress right away.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. I mean, like, he really might want to have resolved Duress so that his meddling mage is better.
Yeah.
So Gush was cast in response.
Yep. No mana floating.
The Sven needs a foil with his Duress.
Yeah. I mean, there it is.
The 2 islands?
I think so. Alright. No, Rich can still just play the meddling mage. And then name Vision Charm. Probably.
Run out like a seal cleansing?
And then have like Swords of Plowshare.
Okay, so there's the swords. So
here's the red elemental blast. I'm telling you, he's been sandbagging. What are you gonna say?
I would say, why wasn't the meddling mage cast? Is there any other? Okay, there's another swords. I'm just trying to think of a situation like what other card protects the Dreadnought from Swords of Plowshares in this situation?
Nothing.
Misdirection is the only card I can think of.
Okay, that melee mage has got the biggest frown town of all time right now.
That might be Rich playing around misdirection right there. I don't know.
Oh, maybe. That might have been a heads up play. Melee mage just called the family. I'm not gonna be home for the holidays. Got some overtime. And now you just named Dreadnought again, right?
Yeah, it's like we just got this huge shipment in. We've got a lot more work.
I'm literally the only guy here.
You think is he the manager? No.
I think Akroma's the manager.
No, I think Rich is. He's like the big boss, the big pulling all the strings, calling him in. He's like, hey, Chris, you got to come in. Sorry.
Akroma's the supervisor that when the job's almost done, he just shows up and like
takes all the glory. Yeah, like
so proud of you.
We finished everything. So great. Thanks for staying vigilant, doing a lot of work.
So we got 2 Dreadnoughts left in the deck. We got 1 swords and 1 discarded. There's no boomerangs left, right?
So looking at the writing,
That's
Phyrexian Dreadnought was named with the Meddling Mage. Yep. So
Yep.
all right, I guess
So we're
that's
going to game 5.
he might get to see his family for the holidays. He just didn't.
Yeah. At that point, you call the wife. Now she just thinks you're lying. Like, hey, I am gonna be home.
What have you been doing with your supervisor? He's spending some late nights there.
Yeah. What happens to the big order, Chris?
All right. Well, I feel like these Sideboard games have just come down to Meddling Mage.
Yeah. Neither player sideboarding anything different.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
You don't think?
Maybe the misdirection was. I really want to know what that second vision charm was all about, though. That was interesting.
I don't know.
All right, I'll be right back for game 5 here.
All right. All right, chat. So we're going to a 5th game. Is Rich going to be able to pull this out? Will Meddling Mage do all the work again? Well, I don't know if all the work. That was not easy for Rich to set up. Or will Sven be able to set up and protect a Dreadnought and take the match? Well, Lester had talked about that he felt like Mono Blue was like pretty favored in this. I don't know. I feel like the Parfait Oath has a lot of tools to fight what's going on, and the impact of Meddling Mage, if you're able to resolve it, which I think Rich's deck does a decent job of being able to do with like Duress and that Red Elemental Blast, with on top of having cards like Seal Cleansing and Oro Silence and just cards that Sven needs to counter. I think it's not unreasonable for him to be able to resolve a Meddling Mage in a lot of the games. I guess the biggest thing is there's only 2 copies, and Sven's deck can win so quickly, so... Okay, players are shuffled. We're going to have Sven on the play for this 5th game. Let's see if there's going to be any mulligans for either of these guys.
Back.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Not much has happened. People are just resolving mulligans.
Nice. One thing is that the blue deck does mulligan really well with the new mulligan rule.
Okay.
That was... I guess it's new to me. Everyone else is probably pretty used to it. I kept wanting to draw 6 cards. My opponent's like, no, you get 7. Like, what? What's this all about?
Was that like the first like Magic tournament you played in a really long time?
Yeah.
I guess your other games have just been on Magic Online?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that I was always like, why do I have 7 cards? I don't know. I'll just put one of these back in case he doesn't notice, you know? Like,
Magic Online's bugged.
yeah. Like, what is this all about?
Maybe the developers really like you and they coded something in to give you an advantage.
That could be. It's so weird because as an old school player, like Ashley Mulligan, you would always count their cards drawn. You'd be like, 6.
Okay.
And then, oh, yeah, that's right. They get these new rules. Like, Rich is going down to, is it 6 or 5?
I think it's just 6. I think did Sven mulligan as well? I think he's only got
I
6
don't know.
cards there. I was distracted.
Well, he should have 7. Oh, maybe already Scried went to the bottom.
I think so, but
Fair.
unless one card's just like tucked under there and that's 7.
Do we still consider Scrying went to the bottom, or what do we?
Is it a scry to the bottom? No.
Is it just a push to the bottom?
Yeah.
What do we describe it as?
I don't know what the actual lingo is in the official ruling. If it's like put at the bottom of your deck. Certainly it wouldn't say push to the bottom. But
I like the word push.
alright, Sven's back. Rich is still shuffling. If you're Rich, what is the earliest you play Meddling Mage? Like, you wouldn't run it out on turn 2, would you? Would you try and play other spells or find a Duress? Or do you think your best opportunity is just resolving it on turn 2?
I think. Well, if you have like Mox
Or
Diamond,
Mox
you
Diamond.
can play around.
Play around. What if you just would you turn one a Meddling Mage?
If you were on the play, I think you would, because even if they foil it, it's a pretty big drawback for them.
Okay.
And you can just Gaea's blessing it back.
Yep. Land tax is responded with an opt, so it doesn't. I don't think it's resolved, but it probably will. All right. See, opt now says scry. So you're asking about scries. Well, you got early Dreadnought. This is a vision charm.
Doing this thing.
Okay.
Boom.
Yeah, like this is a sequence that's like really difficult. Just with so much counter magic, it's like you can't do anything because it's not in play right now.
Yep.
And your interaction piece, I'll have 2 mana untapped to deal with it.
You might be able to cast Seal, but then I can Vision Charm.
Mm-hmm.
Or Stifle, and I might have another land to counterspell. Yeah. This is why Dreadnought's just so good right now.
Yeah. Do you think there's any merit in like, well, if Rich did have a Swords of Plowshares to getting Swamp and then hoping that you're drawing Duress, you could then Duress and then Swords?
That's a good question. He might already have the Swamp, or maybe he's got Undiscovered.
Okay.
Oh, the green doesn't. The green. I mean, I guess maybe he's got Oath. What? The green doesn't do much for him, I don't think, right?
Gaia's Blessing, Sylvan Library. I mean, in the spot, no, because the game we don't expect to go out. All right, there is a Swamp. There is a Duress. What you got? Would you ever foil this?
If you've only got one answer, maybe. But if you've got 2 answers, I don't think you foil it. What do you think?
I don't think you foil it. Okay, we see Daze, Counterspell, Impulse, and Island. So you take
Counterspell.
Counterspell.
Well, he's actually played his land, right? So now Daze is actually fully functional if he's got Swords.
As long as there's no Mox Diamond from Rich.
Yeah.
You could take Counterspell and then you maybe take a hit from Dren. Like if you have Swords of Plowshares, you could play around Daze. You're vulnerable for him drawing a card and then like also impulsing and finding another foil, I guess. Just an Ivory Tower. But with that, he's got 6 cards. So he'll go to 8.
22.
Then to 10. And then if he No.
I mean, he's gonna land tax again, right?
Oh, okay, okay.
So he's gonna put them in a stack land tax.
Well, he's not necessarily going to land tax. It's 2/2 right now.
That's true.
Like that would change the game if Sven plays another land.
Ivory Tower at one point, so good it was restricted. Now it's just kind of meh. That's when you didn't have 12/12s though, you know?
Yeah.
Your best creature like 2/2, 2/1.
All right, a third land is played. I think this is actually really bad for Sven. Like I think this might change the outcome of the game. Because now Rich has like a whole nother turn. Right?
Yeah. Sven has been very methodical, so he must have a really good reason to play that land.
Rich now has 9 cards in hand. So he'll gain 5 life.
Yep.
So he'll go to 13. That will allow him to take another hit from Dreadnought.
One of the few men that has ever survived 2 hits from Dreadnought. And if Melee Mage comes down, Trump block.
Yeah, but he's already got it. Melee Mage wouldn't change the clock.
No.
But I mean, if Chris needs to show up for work, it's like, hey, you got you got to deal with this, buddy. Sorry.
Look, man, I know no one wants to do it, but just jump in front.
OSHA.
This seems like
OSHA's not following any.
So this seems like a desperation scroll rack to try to find swords or something.
I mean, he has another turn though, so like,
yeah.
I think like this. I guess he won't
get some 7. How many cards deep does it get him? It gets him so deep.
Well, he doesn't get to shuffle with land tax right now.
But just gets him so deep.
Yeah.
Impulse. I think he's just looking for a null here.
Oh, you think the scroll rack has not resolved? Okay.
So many cards. We got with 3, 8 cards. You'd think he'd find at least 2 answers at that point.
So Rich is using the scroll rack. This would possibly allow him to find either if he like Mox Diamond, if he has the combination of Mox Diamond and I guess there's still a Daze active, so he wouldn't want to do it right now.
So it looks like Rich was going to keep 2 cards to the side. Maybe not now.
If Rich goes for a Mox Diamond here, would you Daze it?
Yes.
Okay.
Would you?
Probably.
I think so. I mean, I guess it doesn't really, if he goes for Mox Diamond, you can just Daze whatever he Mox Diamonds, whatever he casts, so maybe you don't Daze it.
Well, the game might not. Rich is at 13.
So he's going to discard.
So it's not necessarily that Rich would have to go for it on that turn.
Yeah. So maybe don't Daze it. Boom. Dreadnought's uncomfortable with the situation. It doesn't know what to do at this point. He usually just shows up for 2 hours and goes home.
Yeah.
Like,
is it because is he so efficient that he gets his work done in 2 hours? He gets his 8-hour shift done in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's just looking at his boss right now, like, bro, what are we doing? Like,
yeah. So if Sven doesn't have another land, Rich will not be seeing new cards, right?
Right.
Barring like an upkeep Enlightened Tutor?
Enlightened Tutor.
Which, okay, I could see that happening.
Which could potentially be Enlightened Tutor for nothing.
You could put a Mox Diamond in your hand, maybe.
Yeah. We could also see Blessing, Scroll Rack, because he does have the forest in his hand, in theory.
Yeah, Blessing with 2 mana is might make things harder, because then you if you have to Scroll Rack and then a 1 mana spell, we could daze it. I think.
Yep. We still do have 4 Mox Diamonds in the deck, so sometimes the little days and stuff are huge. When I was playing, though, it mattered because my opponent knew I had him. So he actually ended up taking stuff out of land tax, just like Rich just did.
Do you think it's possible that Sven should have dazed the Scroll Rack when there was 1 open mana?
Maybe.
Like, just thought that
I mean,
like the ability to like, because the game kind of is a tempo at this point, because you're just
yeah. The ability to look at 8 cards is huge.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I guess you would still get to look at 8 cards. It would just be you would have to use a mana on the next turn, which is could be really pivotal. I don't know, maybe not then, because you just have the days then.
I don't know if Richard has got an answer here. He doesn't have Humiliate in his deck. That's one thing that I've always noticed he doesn't play. So he's got 7 possible answers right now. 4 swords, 2 aura, and a seal.
All right, here's a Swords of Plowshares. We know about a daze. That one's not doing much right now.
Nope. We have to have a hard counter or a vision charm.
Sven is pausing. What does that mean?
Maybe he's contemplating foil. He has exactly 3 cards in hand, right?
4. I think there's 3 unknown cards.
Okay. It's so weird. You look at Rich having 7 or 8 cards in hand.
We do see a foil. Discarding a boomerang and an island. So he was debating whether he wanted to discard Daze or Boomerang. And there is another Swords of Plowshares. So the Dreadnought gets exiled. Rich at 1 life. Oh no, he's at 4. I guess yeah. Yep. It was down to 1, yeah.
I wonder if discarding that Boomerang is going to come back here. Enlightened Tutor, go get Aura.
The turn that Sven played that 3rd land, did he use all his mana?
No.
No. I think that might cost him the game.
That if he had Boomerang there, though.
Okay.
Maybe that was the. Oh, he got Zuran Orb. Oh, that makes sense. Then you can just start land taxing.
Yeah.
Tax racking. Do you just daze the Zuran Orb just to see if you can catch him?
I don't think I would daze the Zuran Orb.
You don't say daze, you just like counter it?
Do you think how many times do you think Zuran Orb has been dazed?
Ooh.
And is it more or less the number of times Vision Charm has been?
I think it's more than the amount of times that Vision Charm has used the land ability.
I disagree.
Because I bet you Zuran Orb has been dazed when there's been like sphere resistance, stuff like that in play.
But yeah, I mean, like that's kind of what I thought of. But like, so you're paying 1 to daze, and I don't know. But like,
you are thinking there's just like John from Cincinnati use Vision Charm to fix his mana all the time too.
There's been people in Premodern that I know have done the Vision Charm thing. So
fair enough. So Daze and Stifle got discarded. We got Gush. This could be sick.
wait, are you sure that the Daze wasn't cast on the? The Zuran Orb?
Nope, he got caught with a verdict.
Okay.
He did not daze the verdict either. That would have been sick.
Here's an Aura Silence. I think we're reaching the point where Rich is starting to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it hasn't resolved yet.
Well, we're going to see Rich gain 6 life from Zuran Orbs here soon. And then he's going to start double land taxing every turn.
Alright, so Annul, yep, answers the...
Yep.
2 lands will get sacrificed to put Rich to 8, but more importantly, it's going to have him down to 2 lands, so now the Scroll Rack land tax with double land tax is now online.
Yeah, Scroll Rack land tax Ivory Tower is huge. Mono Blue might not be able to come back from this.
I certainly don't like his chances.
You can't Vision Charm deck him either because of the stupid blessing. Unless Rich gets unlucky, Scroll Racks into 3 blessings. He gets double Vision Charmed to deck him.
Yeah, I don't think the game's going to go that long.
I don't think you can actually get decked with Scroll Rack in play though, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so.
I mean, I guess in theory, if you didn't have cards in your hand, you could, right?
So we gotta boomerang the Scroll Rack, make him draw 3 blessings, and then double Vision Charm him for the win.
We got life total updates. Someone says that Rich should be at 16. I guess I'm gonna take your word for it, but oh, I think he did write it down there, down at the bottom.
Ooh, he's helping out. He says he's at 11 now.
All right.
Yeah.
We got a Sylvan Library. So I mean, like, all these cards are just making it a little bit less likely that Rich loses. But
yeah.
He's just basically got to find. I mean, Meddling Mage would close things out pretty much.
Does he really got to find a win card though? At this point, like he's just getting so much value.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't really need to.
No. That's the thing with these Parfait decks too is if you're playing against like if you're the right person playing against right, they can just make game 1 go 50 minutes. Like they can just keep doing stuff.
Rich is going to play a Duress off an Undiscovered Paradise. We see a Stifle, a Dreadnought, and an Annul.
Huh.
Would you have gone for a Dreadnought?
I mean, it's not going to get better for you, right?
I agree. I don't think it is.
He's looking at 9 cards a turn. There's not really much you can draw to get you back into this.
Got a Guy's Blessing. We are targeting a Duress. We are targeting a Duress. We're targeting a Gerard's Verdict. Okay.
I think it's right on Rich's part. He's just going to make sure you can't build up enough answers to force through your Dreadnought. And there's he can also technically just get rid of all the Dreadnoughts, and then it's done that way too.
Okay, like with Gerard's Verdict, you're saying?
Yeah, because there's only 2 Dreadnoughts left in the deck, right?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. I'm telling you, this is why Feldon's Cane is a secret sideboard card.
That wouldn't change anything.
What? You get so much more answers. All your gushes are back. Imagine how demoralizing that would be for Rich after he does all this work. He just Feldon's Cane everything back. There was a time you would be a fool not to play one in your deck.
So much
Restoration.
card advantage.
Yep. Like, not even joking, what card I'm kind of surprised these Parfait players don't play as a Jester's Cap.
Yeah, I could see that in certain matchups.
Cap Blessing.
You get to take a peek at their deck too.
Yep.
Certainly wouldn't want to do that on webcam games.
No, yeah. You write down the entire deck. Forget what's in their hand.
I mean, people did that like at the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
One guy just like sorted his opponent's deck and then figured out what was in his hand. I feel like if they're going through those motions, it'd just be like, all right, this is my hand. Like,
no way. What if they're just wrong?
Okay.
Modern technology, you just let them take a picture of your deck?
It was a team tournament. Would that change your? Did that change your decision at all?
No.
Okay.
I'm not giving them anything. I don't like the whole playing face up stuff either. Like, you write it down or you remember it. Like,
I think it's fine on webcam games as a courtesy.
Double Blessing. Now we can start necro hutting, and it doesn't even matter anymore. We're just drawing extra cards that way too.
What would Sven need to do to win this game?
You know my answer: upheaval. Upheaval Tog out of nowhere.
How about a sequence that's in his 75 cards?
So realistically, though, he's not that far away from just. he has to act like Rich has all blanks for the most part. So realistically, he's just got a Dreadnought and then have maybe 2 protection spells, and just trust that Rich is drawing junk.
Well, Rich has gone up to 26.
Right.
Do you think this is Rich's happy place where you're just like,
Yeah.
this is the best feeling in the world?
Yeah. I think secretly Rich doesn't want his opponent to scoop ever in this situation.
That's because Chris needs to get his overtime work in.
Yeah. We are so far away from Akroma at this point, though, that like, how often do you think that Rich might just play 4 Mox Diamonds in one turn and say go? Do you think this is like the combo he's building up for?
I think, and then Armageddon.
Yeah. Armageddon would seal this.
You're saying it's not sealed? This game's not locked up?
We got 1 Mox Diamond.
I don't know if he has a land to discard.
We have 2? 2?
Here's a Duress.
Oh, should have annulled it. Gotta give Sven some credit though. He's just gonna keep playing here.
Yeah.
Like,
I guess until you show a way that he's actually gonna die.
Yeah.
He's got some percentage of a chance, I guess.
There is a
5-mana off a Serra Sanctum.
Okay.
Or a Silence. And a Scroll Rack.
Okay. You know he's building up for with that Serra Sanctum, right?
I'll say Armageddon, but you can say Akroma.
He's got his own version of the upheaval kill. He's just gonna Akromageddon the same turn.
Ooh.
How many times do you think that's been done in history?
Upheaval, then cast Akroma on the same turn?
No. Akroma, Geddon in the same turn.
Oh.
It's probably been done. EDH has probably gotten it done a few times.
Yeah. Though I feel like by the time EDH became popular, Akroma was kind of outclassed.
Ouch. That's just mean to say.
Don't talk about your supervisor like that. Chris's yearly review is coming up, and it's not going to be positive.
What's he at now?
39. I can just make up numbers, I think, at this point.
I don't think he's even actually using the Sylvan Library. I think he's just over it.
So what card will come down to make Sven concede? I think a Meddling Mage here.
Melee Mage, Akroma.
Well, yeah.
Shard Phoenix, Ancestor's Chosen. He doesn't have a third Aura Silence, right? Maybe he just plays Seal.
The seal would do you in. The 2 Aura Silences. I guess you don't even do you even need to name a Phyrexian Dreadnought with your Meddling Mage when there's 2 Aura Silence in play.
No, at that point you just name Abandon Hope.
At some point, maybe this Phyrexian Dreadnought will cost more than an Akroma. I guess there's only.
There might be 2.
Are there 3 Aura of Silence? I guess it won't.
No, there's only 2 in the deck.
2. Okay.
Oh wait, I think
it's one on the sideboard.
Did he have one in the sideboard actually? Oh, he does have 3.
Okay.
Maybe Rich is just trying to assemble his own collection of stuff. He's just trying to get 3 Auras, Seal, 4 Mox Diamonds before he goes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tap for 6. Is it a? Are the Oath of Druids out of the deck at this point? Zura's weirding. All right, that's
weirding. What?
All right. And here's my hand. That's.
Oh, he's got Ancestor's Chosen.
All right, that's. I mean, that's part of Zura's weirding. So.
He's got the red Elemental Blast.
Yep. So that is enough. That Sven is just not able to draw another card at this point. So I'm going to jump down to the players, and we're going to listen in to see what they have to say about this match.
Oh, absolutely. A player is never obligated to concede.
Right. Also, yeah, want to prolong the beautiful game. No, thank you. Was really a pleasure.
Let me unmute the hosts here.
Yes, I think so.
Hey guys!
Congratulations!
Yes.
Congratulations, Rich. Yeah. Sven, you got him down to 1. I don't.
Yeah.
Not quite enough.
I would say that one turn when he was able to trigger that land tax was all the difference.
Ivory Tower is not a bad card.
Yeah, I mean, the certain situations
maybe.
you have to gain at least 5 life for it to do anything in that situation. But yeah, it was just the right amount of time, right a number of cards, and that one turn was all the difference.
Over the course of 2 turns, gaining 5 life is not unreasonable, right? I mean,
that's right. I really needed that 3rd land so I could impulse into another response because I was really low on protection spells.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with Dreadnought, you can, at least in my experience, you can often let Parfait just draw their lands as long as they can cash in on them. But so letting that trigger resolve seemed fine to me, considering that I needed responses really urgently. So that was okay for me. But of course, with the Squall Wreck and just missing out really closely, I think 1 mana prevented me from dazing you. Then it was too much, of course.
Yeah, that last turn, it really came down to, do you have an answer to both my swords? And I think that's what decided the game.
Exactly. I was banking on you having maybe a Seal and a Swords, or an Aura of Silence and a Swords or something, and not having text interact into 2 answers. But of course, I mean, that's what your deck's equipped to do. I just didn't like going into a longer game there, so I forced the situation.
I think it makes sense. You decide the tempo of the match. If you decide that we're going to start playing on turn 2, you make it happen. And if you decide that you're going to wait till turn 8, you make that happen too. So in a lot of ways, you're really in the driver's seat in the matchup.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, this is exactly what happened in the semifinals too, where I lost games 1 and 2 and then took the sideboard games.
Okay, I mentioned that I wasn't sure exactly the order, but yeah, the games are very different, and like Meddling Mage is a very powerful card, and especially you kind of have tools to make, like the extra Duress or like the Red Elemental Blast gives you a little bit more control of trying to resolve it, and then once it's in play, it's pretty problematic. So
having Meddling Mage with the ability to protect him with Red Blast is huge in this matchup. And, you know, it gives me a proactive thing to do. I can sort of play the strategy of finding and resolving Meddling Mage.
Yeah.
And it doesn't win me the game, but it certainly puts the player something instead of making me find all the answers to everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Sven, you and your team have done a great, impressive job with putting this build together. You've been taking it just up and down all across and doing really well with it. That's really impressive.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to build it with everyone. Just building the deck was even more fun than playing it, I guess. So yeah,
it looks fun to play. I mean, when I started playing the format, I thought that Gush was going to be the best build around, and I thought that Dreadnought was going to be the engine. I think you guys have taken it to a level that it hasn't been to before, and it'll be, you know, it'll be interesting to see how it develops from here.
Absolutely. I'm curious to see how it develops further as well.
Yeah, it'll be good to see. I think decks have to adjust to Dreadnought, and they will, which is, you know, why this is such an exciting format, an exciting metagame. You know, things come, things go, and people figure out how to address whatever monster there is this week.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the deck has seen more play since September, and now the results are really strong all over continents and tournaments. So now that it has picked up steam, I'm curious to see how the sideboards of all the other decks are maybe changing to it if they need to.
I think they need to, but I think it's all healthy. I think this is the sort of ebb and flow that makes for a healthy metagame. This, despite having a fixed card pool, is not a stagnant format at all.
Yeah,
for sure.
So, question about game 4, if you guys don't mind. There was a turn when you cast Dreadnought. You showed Vision Charm, then stifled it, and then you Vision Charmed during the upkeep. Was there a reason to Vision Charm during upkeep?
I didn't even Vision Charm during upkeep. I actually Vision Charmed in my turn, end of turn, sorcery speed. So that was a really strange turn. I've never done that before with the deck, and I actually talked with Rich about it between games. So I stifled first because I wanted to bait an answer from Rich. Of course, he didn't fall for it. But the thing was that my hand was super stacked. I was way above 7 cards, and I didn't want to discard anything. I would have probably just discarded the stifle anyway. So I first stifled the Dreadnought trigger, trying to bait an answer from Rich. I don't know the texture of his hand, so maybe he sees himself forced to get rid of the problem right away. You never know. Well, he didn't. And then I decided to just sorcery speed Vision Charm it, because I would not have had enough answers to answer his responses in his turn. I just needed time to untap again, and then I felt well set up to answer his threats. So it was a little bit of a weird sequencing there, but I really just passed the turn with 7 cards in hand with a Dreadnought faced out and a lot of protection spells, so I felt quite secure there.
Okay.
Yeah. The verdict to start, I had a really interesting turn there too. I had verdict, Duress, Meddling Mage, the aura, and the swords, I think, right? Which meant that my sequencing had to be, how do I want to start this? I didn't know what you had, so I didn't actually want to lead on the Meddling Mage, but I also didn't want to lead on the Duress because that would give you the most information. and I was worried about Aura because that's the easiest to counter. So that's why I started with the Verdict, because I figured at this point all 7 cards in your hand have to be really good.
Right.
And they were.
Yeah, the Verdict didn't feel too good there. I think I discarded a counter spell and something else, so not where you want to be.
Verdict has been a starship. It's been just unbelievably good in the deck.
Love to hear that.
Yeah. I really liked it, and I'm gonna probably play another one in the board, at least in the board going forward. It's been that good.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, yeah, the gameplay of that match was really cool, and I thought you guys both did a really good job. And there were some really interesting sequences that we got to see. And yeah, I didn't understand the Vision Charm play when it happened. I'm like, I was trying to think of what it was happening, but now that you say it, it does make sense. But that was very, very sharp to do it that way. So.
Yeah.
Did you try to explain to Rich how important it was and you should try to kill it right now before you have to discard? Did you go through that? Like I don't know, man. If this thing sticks around, you might die to it. Do you want to do something now?
Sure. Trying to squeeze out every little percentage of the mind games as well, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the way.
No, Sven played that very well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Expertly played.
Thank you.
Yeah,
it was a super fun match, right? We had this first 2 games for the Dreadnought, then 2 games for Parfait, and the 5th match was sort of a quick one, but I guess going to 5 games, way to finish off such a beautiful tournament like the Fall Brawl.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, that was still, 2.5 hours of being wizards.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. A good match.
Yeah, job well done.
And the good guy won, I guess, or did he?
We're not sure. That was up to debate.
Did you ask the question again, Mike? Who's the
at some
who's
point?
the good guy?
I kind of talked about it, but I know someone had said before the match that that they think both the decks are evil at this point. So they're both bad guys.
My deck's clearly the hero. Look, taxes go to fund goods and services. Taxes aren't inherently evil. Taxes are how you put a state together. It's how your city-state can fund roads, bridges, protection. You need taxes.
I just like Rich's opening statement of trying to say that he's the good guy is taxes. He starts talking about taxes.
Okay, so on the one hand, you have taxes. On the other hand, you have giant robot monster running around, destroying cities, and really only even able to run around because of some sort of weird stifling effect that who knows how that works.
You're not looking at that
charming. The robot's very charming as well.
It for sure is a charming little pet there. And also Dreadnought is just this idea, mono blue Dreadnought especially, of purest form of wizardry. There's a wizard in the ocean standing around. He's not really doing anything. He's just making some land drops, but not really too many. And you're wondering, and he's thinking and going through his ops, and he's considering trying to get an impulse for the right call, and you don't know what he's doing. Sometimes he will counter spell of you, but not really active. And then one turn, water gushes from the ocean, a giant Dreadnought leaps out of the sea, it suddenly phases out, you try to defend yourself, but it's foiled, and you don't really know how he's casting all these spells without mana, and so that's very beautiful. Like it's a typical blue deck. You have the beauty and silence of the ocean, and then the huge explosion and the pop force of the element.
Sure, I'm trying to run an orderly civilization. I have taxes. I have military.
Who wants to see that?
Oath of Druids. I have my nice books arranged in their scroll racks. And suddenly, this giant monster emerges from the sea, and as the benevolent lord of the kingdom, I have to arrange for him to stop eating villagers and turn to a life of farming so that he can productively use his strength to benefit those around him. And as I maintain order, my buddy Zur, he's kind of weird, but he just makes sure that nothing happens.
Have you thought about paying Chris a fair wage for all the work he does?
Yeah.
Meddling Mage? Have you considered a raise for Meddling Mage?
I pay Meddling Mage a blue mana and a white mana. Yeah. That seems fair because that's what he's willing to work for. And so that's your tax dollars at work, literally.
Did you bring Akroma in this match or no? Did we have a dream of seeing Akroma?
No, Akroma is too puny to deal with this robot monster. If I have my angel, she's great and all, but she's half the size of this thing. So the only thing that can help me is my Ancestor's Chosen, who can loop and gain enough life to offset whatever the Dreadnought's doing. Now, that's precarious at best, because obviously Stifle halts it, and you might Oath into a Meddling Mage, and that doesn't work out well. Although that actually has worked out, because if you have like a seal and you name Stifle, it could be fine. But the Oath package is not the best here. I really think the whole Oath package would need to be reworked to make it more effective against Dreadnought, and maybe now we're into the realm of Wood Rippers and things like that.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I actually really enjoyed like the storytelling of you guys making the argument of which deck is the good guy. I thought that was really fun. But yeah, I think just everyone was just really impressed of how both you played. Someone I think had made a comment that, Rich, I don't know what your record is with the Parfait Oath in like top 8, but they made it seem like you're pretty close to undefeated, if not. So
I did lose in the finals of LobsterCon.
Okay.
2 Dreadnought, to be fair.
Well, more of a giant ghoul monster than 8 Dreadnoughts.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
All right. At that point, I don't have any other questions for you, but I just want to thank both of you for playing and a job well done. If anything else you guys want to add, otherwise we can let you go.
Well played, Sven. Excellent, and congrats on a great run for you and the deck you've been working on.
Thank you very much. Yeah, congratulations to you, of course. Also, thanks to Michael for the great tournament. We all had a lot of fun, everyone I talked to, so thanks for that. And of course, shout out to the Shrimp crew, the Mono Blue crew, for building the deck with me, Alvaro, Tom, and also Chris for talking through matchups, building the deck, playtesting a little here and there. So yeah, thanks for that. It's been amazing.
Congrats, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, Lester. We have a Fall Brawl champion, and it is the Parfait Oath deck. He was able to battle through 2 of the 3 mono blue Stiflenoughts and protect protect the menace, the mono blue menace from winning the tournament. But yeah, it was well fought by both players. Some good magic there. So thank you, Lester, for being here and
anytime
providing not only a lot of strategic advice, but some entertainment as well. That was fun. So
we will see the upheaval Dreadnought next time around.
Yeah. All right. With that, let's just move over here. And I want to thank everyone tuning in live. Thanks everyone for watching. Had a lot of fun with this tournament. But until next time, take care.